All the cast are back, a lot of the crew is back. There's definitely a very family atmosphere on set. It was a lot of fun doing season 1, and it's just as much fun doing season 2.
I think we've upped our game quite a bit, and the storylines are brilliant. Yeah, it's a really interesting process to see where the characters go from season 1 to season 2.
There's a lot more talk about it on social media and around the city as well. I think people are really noticing that the boys are back and we're all back.
Filming season 2 is completely different to season 1. There's a lot more people, there's a lot more action.
Well, the film was tiny. We had like 6 people working on it, and now there's like 40 up to 50 some days. It just seems like a bigger beast.
Jesus, there's millions of people. There's like 470 million people working on this series. Like, you know, when you see those American shows you watch filmed in front of a live studio audience, it kind of feels like that this time. It's good fun, like, it's good to be back.
Yeah, we still do a lot of improv when we're filming. Luckily that hasn't changed. Well, we made that kind of quite clear because we have a few new directors now as well. And we spent a good bit of time in rehearsals working with them and kind of just letting them know that just because the show's bigger now, we don't want it to change, because like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
It's great then if we're all in a room together improvising, because you can just kind of slot into each other. We know what each other are going to do before we do it.
Until you're in the space and you see, oh yeah, this, and you look around and you know, you get ideas from where you are. So improv, I think, is really necessary to it, like, especially with the 2 lads are brilliant at it, you know, the 2 lads, and they have this energy together that you can't sit down and write on a page.
Chris and Alex at this stage are pretty much like a double act. They can almost read each other's minds, and I can see it all happening.
Especially me and Chris now, we've known each other 4 years now, best friends. We know how to set each other up and kind of just riff off each other, so it's great.
Yeah, definitely when the film was in its early stages and Peter had written it, he definitely encouraged us very much to be vocal about what we think the choices our characters would make, and was always very open to any suggestions we had. So I definitely feel a very close relationship with Jock, and yeah, feel definite ownership over him.
Peter creates the world and he creates the characters. So if he has an idea for the character, he runs it by you, and he wants both people to be on the same page, which I think is brilliant. And it really does give you this agency or this ownership where you bring a lot of your own ideas to the character. And when you do that, it feels like it's your own. You know, you're not saying somebody else's words, you feel ownership over the words, and I think that's essential for a realistic portrayal.
When I first got told I was playing Linda Walsh, it was kind of difficult. I didn't know anything about her. I didn't know what her favourite colour was. It was like I got told that I had to mind this brand new person that's just entered my life, and I had to build her from scratch. And I feel like I own her a lot. I feel like I can relate to her, and I want to make sure people can relate to her as well.
Yeah, do I feel like I have an ownership of the character Mairead? Yeah, absolutely, I do. She's kind of flying the flag for the underdog, and the strong female hero on screen, who's just very much the underdog and struggling through life. But she's a really interesting character to play, actually, because she's got the highs of constantly trying to keep the lads under wraps, and all that stuff is really funny and it's very intense. But then she's got all those emotional moments as well, which kind of tie the heart of the series together a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's like a window to another life. You know what I mean? I was adopted when I was born, so maybe this is the person I was going to be. In my real life, maybe the other real life me is out there somewhere, and it's Barry Walsh. There's a frightening thought, isn't it? Like, which one's better? Who knows? But yeah, so yeah, I don't know. But I'm definitely making him young. I like Barry now. I suppose at the start I didn't like him. He was just like, you're being this guy who you wouldn't really like, but I like him now. Like, because say what you like about Barry, and he's a bit uptight, and he's a bit of a nerd, and he's a bit of a goof, but his heart's in the right place, I'm starting to warm on me a bit.
I'd say I do feel an ownership, in a sense, over the character. Just when we're filming, just seeing the crowds watching, it's like, it's really, a lot of the time it's raining and it's cold, and people stand there all day just watching. And it's just nice to know that we've made something that people love so much.
How much of me is in Jock? It's hard to say when you're talking about yourself. My friends would probably be able to give you a better answer on that one, but there's definitely elements, and there's definitely not elements as well. And it's about, I suppose, accessing the elements that are there and then working upon the ones that aren't.
I think Connor's great. I think his heart's in the right place. Just Connor's way of thinking, he kind of goes around, he has a bit of he doesn't think in a linear way. he thinks like very few people think, and yeah, it'll be tough to live with Connor's mind, I'd say. So I like putting that to bed at the end of the day.
Linda and me are like identical but completely different. Linda's very quiet, she doesn't like to get into things that much. If there's an argument, she likes to step back almost. I'm really fiery, hot-tempered, so I feel like we, in an ideal world, would not be friends. We're polar opposites. I'm hot and she's quite literally cold.
How much of Hilary has gone into the character Mairead? Probably, I mean, I would like to say not a lot, but I think there's probably anger moments in there. If I'm completely truthful, I think, yeah, sometimes I catch myself at home, I don't know, being angry over something, and I go, oh my God, that's really Mairead.
I hope that there's not a lot of her and me. She does stand up for herself, and I would stand up for myself, and she's very brave, and I would like to think I'm brave, and I would do what's right, and she does what's right also. So, but apart from that, I hope nothing else.
When Peter and I were originally discussing the character, the person that he used as an analogy was Roy Keane. He was like, he's kind of the Roy Keane of detectives, like really determined and dogged. Now, I think Roy Keane is a lot more successful than Sergeant Healy is, generally speaking. If you look into his eyes, Keane is like, I'm focused on the objective here, which is winning the match. So I think Healy is constantly focused on his objective, and Dom is constantly focused on his objective as an actor as well.
Oh yeah, we've lost a lot of takes over laughing, and we always have. And once it starts, then it just can't stop. You know, like if you've been told not to laugh, then you laugh more, and then if you're really trying to hold it in and it's going well, it just comes out worse and worse every time. Yeah, it gets out of control.
I mean, there was one day, and again it was PJ. Every time it was PJ for me. I literally can't look at him. Oh my goodness, it was a group scene, and he just improv'd, and luckily the camera was kind of on him and it was over my shoulder, so the camera couldn't see me, and I had tears streaming down my face. You know when you get like, you know what it's like being in maths when you're younger and you're just like, you just can't stop laughing. There was tears streaming down my face. I thought I was going to choke, and I just had to let him do it. Camera was here, I literally just went like this.
Yeah, there can be a few of those moments, especially ones if they're doing a scene and it's like in a small room and it's just the tensions are building, and a lot of the time the whole crew would be kind of losing it over whatever, and they're great moments.
The difficulty is when you get to know the people you're acting opposite, you can see when they're starting to crack up, even though they're not. Like their faces, they're being totally professional. I think it particularly happens with Alex for some reason. Alex will say something and you know in his head he's like, this is absolutely hilarious. So you see a little glint in their eye, and it's the glint that's the difficult part. Like he can say whatever he wants and I'm not going to crack up, but if I see that little glint in his eye that he thinks this is hilarious, I'm gone.
But we've gotten better at just getting things done, get your laughter out, and sure, if you're not laughing, you're crying, so at least we're enjoying it. We always think if we're enjoying it, then hopefully people watching it will enjoy it, so that's half of it as well.